Today, we're talking about something that isn't often recognized on the fertility journey, but is actually something that I've seen in many women bubbling underneath the surface and not realizing it's there. And then, because of the lack of awareness that it's there, it can be a potential block. And it is the fear of success. The question of what if I actually get pregnant and I can't handle the changes that come with it? So Jessica is here with us today to talk about exactly that. She's 41 and she's back on the path again after a miscarriage. Jessica, let's start with where you're at. Can you share a bit about how you're feeling right now as you're trying again and what's coming up for you emotionally, mentally, spiritually?
So far, I've been feeling pretty good. It's been almost 5 months since the miscarriage, and I think one of the things that I've been thinking about recently is that what happens if I do succeed, again, or will I be able to balance all the challenges that come with it? Like I feel for me, like uh, do I want to add one more layer of challenge to my life when, as we all know, life is already hard enough as it is?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it makes so much sense that you're feeling all of that. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, and then underneath it, right, is this worry about, am I even ready for what I say that I want? You shared something that I really want to sit with today for this video. It's not just what if it doesn't happen, it's what if it does and I can't handle it. And so that's a very real fear that we need to address because when you've been trying for a while, it's easy to focus only on the getting part, right? But underneath that desire, there can also be this quiet worry, or even for some people, panic about what comes next. Not because you don't want it, but because actually getting it and receiving it would change everything. And we know that having a child is a huge life shift. So, Jessica, what do you notice happens inside you when that question comes up?
I feel a lot of tenseness come up, like my body is tense, or
Okay.
I'm in a loop of, oh, how do I prepare myself? I know you can never really prepare for everything, but like, what am I going to do? Will I have a support system? How will my partner and I be able to handle everything that comes with it?
Right.
So I just feel like a tenseness in my body.
Are you able to identify where in your body you feel that tension?
It's usually in my chest,
Okay.
like,
All right.
like.
Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense that you have that body physical reaction, and then your mind starts swirling about, like, okay, what's going to happen? What next? It could be, do we need to move? Can we afford this? And how do I schedules accommodate that? What about my job and all of that? So it totally makes sense because success isn't just a simple yes, right? It's completely life changing, like permanently. And so for so many women, especially over 40, it brings questions, brings up questions like, also, will I lose myself? Right? Will my relationship survive, this transition? Will I be strong enough emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually? What happens to my career? And so these are very legitimate questions that I want to zoom in on because this fear that you're naming, what if I can't handle it if this actually works? So that comes up because as protection. And that's what you want to realize. It's protection, especially after loss, because many women listening to this video will have experienced loss, just like you. Some of them multiple losses. So after loss, it's protection. After loss, after disappointment, for some to the extent of even where they would call it trauma. And so the mind, the psyche is going to start creating space between you and the thing that you want. Not because you don't want it anymore, but because getting close to it can feel very dangerous to your nervous system. It feels like very shaky, right? So your body's going to start bracing. You talked about the tension. So you feel the tension in your chest. So it's your body starting to like prepare for it. It's like your system says, let's not get too excited. Let's not get too close because what if it hurts again, or you feel the disappointment and whatever the layers are. And so there are a few layers to why this happens. And first, again, it is a protective mechanism, right? Specifically, after a miscarriage or a heartbreak of some kind, your nervous system literally learns hope leads to disappointment, or for some, even devastation, right? So instead of reaching fully, like putting your full heart into it, you pull back just a little bit. So for some people, they might dissociate, disconnect. They might procrastinate or delay things or become numb to the journey where people can be going through the motions, but your heart really isn't fully in it. And I want people to understand that it's not because you don't care, but because the caring feels like a risk. So this isn't about being negative, it's about just survival. The body starts to believe that if I stay in the trying phase, at least I'm not losing anything yet. I know what to expect. If I don't fully imagine success, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm not going to be shattered if it doesn't happen. So it holds you right there, kind of in this limbo state where you're feeling safe, in control, like you feel a little bit in control in the sense of there's familiarity with where you are in the journey, but it can keep a woman stuck, right? So like I said, first it's a protective mechanism, and then there's the illusion of control, right? Trying can often feel safer than actually receiving, than being in the pregnancy phase. It gives you structure, like the plans, the protocols, the supplements, like what to do next. But the moment that success arrives, right, with the positive pregnancy test, you're now thrown into the unknown. And the mind can flip out completely, right? It's like, am I ready for pregnancy again in your situation, or for women who've had losses before? What if I miscarry? What if everything changes and I can't keep up with it, right? So this illusion of control, it starts to slip a little bit. It gets a little bit weaker. And that can be really scary when you've been holding everything so tightly for so long. And then finally, there's the identity shift. It's a part of you where it might be saying, I know who I am as someone who's trying and not yet pregnant. That's my current identity. But who am I as someone who is pregnant with a baby coming in a few months, right? So again, that's uncertain, that's unknown. So sometimes it just feels easier to stay in the familiar version of yourself, the one who's doing the work, hoping and managing, than to fully step into the transformed self who actually gets what she wants, right? Because this version, the transformed version, she might be called to surrender, right? She might not feel so much in control, and she might have to trust in something bigger than herself. And so that's not going to be easy for a lot of people, especially when past disappointments have taught you to stay on high alert. And so this isn't just at a mental level. This fear of success shows up physically, right? You might tense up when you picture a positive pregnancy test, or you're picturing yourself pregnant or with a baby. You might notice shallow breathing when you imagine life with a baby. For some, they can feel kind of a numbness in their body, maybe their womb area, their belly, like their body's checked out, or even go into fight or flight when success feels close, like you want to run from it. And the key thing to remember is that your body might be preparing to reject success before your mind even knows what's happening. And this isn't your fault. This is your nervous system doing its job, protecting you from future pain. So, for anyone who's listening and who has experienced pregnancy loss, you know this, getting pregnant again doesn't just feel exciting. It can feel dangerous, right? It feels uncertain. It's not safe because your body remembers that experience, and your mind is trying to protect you from ever going through that again. So, this fear of success is really fear of reliving that pain, right? It can be a fear of losing something again, of feeling that same helplessness, or even blaming yourself if it happens again. And so, without realizing it, you might find yourself just emotionally distancing from the process. And it could look like struggling to imagine being pregnant or feeling numb even though you want it, and creating perfectly logical reasons to pause or wait or delay doing something that you know is for your own good. It can also look like a missing ovulation or avoiding sex and not knowing why. And that's not failure, that's your system trying to avoid disappointment. So I really want to be very clear about this. This fear doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're not ready. It doesn't mean that you're standing in your own way. It just means that you're protecting yourself the only way that your nervous system knows how. And so that's why doing this work, this inner work, it's not about pushing harder, about doing all these external actions. It's really about softening these protective layers that you've built along the journey so that your body can start to believe it's safe to receive. It's safe to create and grow, and it's safe to hope without it meaning that I'm going to break. So you don't have to force yourself to be fearless. You just have to be willing to listen to the part of you that's afraid and then let her know you're safe now. We're not in the danger zone anymore. We get to do this differently. And we get to figure it out along the way because that's really what life is about anyway, right? It's not like we can predict what's going to happen down the road. And so, we'll figure it out. So, fear of success is stored in the body as an incomplete survival response that manifests as physical symptoms. So, we need to complete the stress cycle and then restore a sense of safety to your nervous system. So, we're going to do a short practice to identify the root of your fear of success on the fertility path. Is that okay, Jessica?
Sure.
Okay, great. So this is a very soft practice. It's not about fixing anything. It's just about listening more deeply to yourself, to your inner being, and to your body. So go ahead and close your eyes if that feels good. Lay your hands, let your hands come onto your body, one hand on your heart, and then one on your womb. And just take a slow breath in and a longer breath out. And let your shoulders soften. The little muscles around your eyes and your face and your jaw relax. Let your belly be soft. Now bring into your mind's eye a moment where you imagined success. And it could be a positive pregnancy test, hearing your baby's heartbeat, telling your partner, or holding your baby in your arms. Just let one clear image rise. You got it? Okay. Now, gently notice what happens in your body as you hold that image. Don't try to change it, just notice. Is there a tightening in your chest, a holding of your breath, a sudden emotion rising, maybe even a numbness? What do you experience, Jessica?
It was like a little tense, but not like when I'm really in my head.
Okay. Where do you feel the tension?
It's like right at like my heart.
Okay. Okay. Now ask yourself quietly, the part of me that is afraid to receive this, what is she protecting me from? The part of me that is afraid to receive this, what is she protecting me from? And you might hear, I'm afraid to hope again. I don't trust that it will last. What if I lose myself again in the disappointment? What if I can't be a good mother? So, whatever comes is welcome. Just breathe with it. And then take one more breath and ask, what does this part of me need to feel safer? What does this part of me need to feel safer? Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's reassurance. Maybe it's permission to not have it all figured out yet. And just take a moment, feel into it. And then when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. What did you notice in your body?
Like before or like now? Like
Now, yeah,
a little bit more calmer, like a little bit more like at ease.
good. So what came up for you when you asked what you were protecting yourself from?
I was protecting myself against being hurt.
Oh, okay. As a result of your miscarriage?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then did you get an answer to what that part of you needs in order to feel safer?
Reassurance, like reassurance that everything's going to be okay.
Okay. All right. So can you provide that part of you some reassurance on a regular basis?
I'm a little bit hard on myself, so that's something I'm going to have to work on.
Okay.
And
Okay.
like my own.
So, okay. So now you're aware of it, right? That
Yes.
part of you feels very vulnerable and is
Mhm.
wanting to protect the greater part of you from further hurt and disappointment. And so that part needs reassurance on a regular basis.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. So just, being soft and gentle with yourself, having grace and compassion. We tend to be hardest on ourselves and we tend to be our own worst bullies.
Mhm.
And so we don't treat people the way that we treat ourselves often in terms of our judgment and our criticism. So part of this journey is really learning how to be really kind to yourself and having more compassion and grace
Mhm.
for everything that you're doing, your commitment, your resolve, your vision. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Jessica, thank you so much for being here and for really sharing this very vulnerable part of the journey. This conversation really matters because there's so many women that's holding this same quiet fear of what if I can't handle the changes success will bring. So a lot of women assume that if they're afraid, it means that they're not ready. But what you've shown is that fear and readiness can live in the same body. It's not about having no fear, it's about having a relationship with it, right? So being aware of it now, like what's going on, and then understanding what tools are necessary to help to soothe that fear and to accept it. It's not to reject it. It's not to say it's bad for being there, but it's like it has a reason for being there and it's valid, right? And just really bringing that into your experience, but not letting that fear drive the car, you know? So to anyone listening who's feeling the same thing, having both the longing and the doubt, the desire and the fear kind of, hanging in balance, just know that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to fix. And this is what healing looks like. This is what becoming the woman that you can receive actually looks like. And if you want support on that path at the pace that's right for your nervous system, your body, and your heart, you're invited into the Heart Portal, the Foundation Circle. It's a space where you don't have to keep holding it all alone, where fear isn't a flaw, it's a doorway. And desire is not too much, it's sacred. And so the link is in the description if that feels like a yes for you. Breathe, soften, keep trusting your rhythm. You're already becoming the woman that your baby is waiting for. And if you'd like to be considered to have your own question explored in one of these conversations, there's also a link to a short application form. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, expect magic and miracles.